Dr. Giultekin Shamilli. She is from the State Institute of Art Studies, Moscow. Her lecture is called "The Heritage of Caucasian Jews in the Context of Middle East Oral Musical Traditions." She is Doctor of Science, Leading Research, State Institute of Art Studies. Please, dear Giultekin.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Hanımın prezentasyası oradaydı, onu Okay. They are trying to connect. They. For all. Is it working? No. Thank you. Thank you, Benim Hanım, for introducing my report. I would like to start by thanking the organizing committee for the opportunity to be here in my hometown to give talk about the musical heritage of Caucasian Jews, and this is also important for me because I write a book about traditional music of Persian and Caucasian Jews, and I have much need to discuss some problems. The cultural heritage of the Caucasian Azerbaijan in general in ancient times was linked with the civilization of fertile Christians, and we know about a unique type of oral professional music making represented by melodies with a free rhythm. It's very typical for Near Eastern oral musical tradition and how these melodies with free rhythm. These melodies are associated with professional tempo rituals, lamentations. For example, in antiquity, it was lamentations of Isis and names for Osiris, fixed in Hebrew as Shiraim, or two-song lamentations. Later, this type of music making was conceptualized in the word of makam, etymologically going back to the ancient Aramaic makam and Hebrew makom in the meaning of place and location. Today it points to musical genres too, one of which, Muham, has also become a part of the Jews' heritage of Caucasian Azerbaijan and is sung in their native language. This type of music making isn't divided into religious or secular music, and is heard in Tamisi, for example, the sample of liturgical singing, performed by Rabbi Rahmoni, and also in Muham, which is soulfully performed by Yossi Bar Yochai in his native language. Please second and third examples.
Rabati amaita kel manam Rabati vagin sarati Bagadin taitalas Demen Maqati kibalayla Vajimata lihiya Illa manahni kalatarihan Kuriya barduwa Hayır
Stop and dance, please.
Or
Thank you very much. This is melodies, and we hear very clear these limitations, and because we have any metrical conditions for these melodies. In other very contrasting example of liturgical singings, next please. Definitely points to the Yemeni style. For example, Adonai Shemati, performed by Rabbi Ilhona.
But the
Yemenite intonation is also characteristic of Persian Jews, in particular the famous singer and Hazan Yonah Dardashti, who lived in Israel after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Yemenite intonations, very This is slichot. Both examples were collected by famous musician Hidis Eliyahu. Owing to periods, we can not only hear the international vocabulary of melodies that have disappeared from the daily life of Caucasian Jews today, especially from the synagogue worship, but also revive these melodies as Hebrew was revived. I would like to give one of the variants of the Hadodi melody, which is unlikely to be sung in the Caucasus as we are going to hear now. Please.
شمر وزاخر بدبريحات يشمعانو إلى ما يحات أدنى لخاددي لغرتي.
It's known that Mountain Dew is an exonym, whereas exoetonym is Juhur. And it's believed that there are no written searches in which it would be possible to find confirmation for this exoetonym. Next, please. Okay. However, I have read this exoetonym on a unique postcard of the early 20th century with the name Jewish family. In the upper right corner of this photo, we read in Persian, Ahli Damyali Juhur, not Juhud, but Juhur. Literally means Jews are blood relatives. The fact that the letter Ra is not Dal may be confirmed by any experts of handwritten Arabic texts. Most likely, based on the elements of clothing, it can be assumed that these are Jews of Kurdistan. In this case, it isn't as important as the fact that modern Caucasian Jews is keeping the memory about Persia. In confirmation, I would quote the words of the outstanding scientist Mikhail Agarunov. He writes, "My grandfather's great-grandfather, Cohen Sagai Aaron Irani, being a courtier of the Shah of Iran, fled, according to the family legend, to Baku from his disfavor. In the late 18th or early 19th century, having married a mountain Jew in Baku, he soon settled in the Jewish settlement of Kuba in the Giultekin quarter. And from his only sons came our Agaronos family, some of whose representatives, including my grandfather Mikhail Yahyo Agaron, were Cohens in the synagogues. I can only add that the two sons of Mikhail Agaronov were born already in Baku. Their mother, Turan Hanum, a cousin or a niece of my grandmother, on the line of the Hayat family, also associated with the Pearl of Karabakh Shusha city. The second legend stretches from the musical heritage of Caucasian Jews to the Middle Asia, reveals the significant role of Jews in the court environment of the Azerbaijani Qajar dynasties. Next, please. Yes. Okay. The legend was recorded by American ethnomusicologist Lawrence Love in 1968 in Sanandaj, the administrative center of Kurdistan. By the legend, Ishaq, one of the great musicians during the reign of Nasruddin Shah, was called away from the synagogue one Yom Kippur to play for the Shah, who was in especially melancholy mood. Obliged to serve the Shah, Ishaq played his tar and sang. But the melodies were those he had heard in all evening in the synagogue. When the Shah asked why such exceedingly delightful melodies were being performed this evening, Ishaq replied that they were from the most sacred of Jewish players, from which he had been forced to separate by order of the Shah. He was then swiftly returned to the synagogue amidst great praise and with a present of much fine gold. I would draw your attention to the transmission of synagogue melodies into the palace music. It's very interesting link. Which once again confirms the conventionality of dividing not only Jewish but also Middle Asian musical heritage into religious and secular. There isn't a strong dichotomy. Secondly, the fact that Ishaq played on the tar and sang isn't allowed in Azerbaijani or Persian musical traditions because of specific way of sound production on the tar. The study of this paradox led me to Kuba City. I was shocked by a previously discovered video recording of the 90s in which Nisim Nisimov played the tar and at the same time sang Mugam, a shur in Azerbaijan. Next, please. I would like to thank the executive director of this Media Associated Daniil Danilov for organizing my meeting in Kuba with Nisim Nisimov. Formerly a professional musician, Nisim Nisimov takes part in the city administration and finds time and energy to teach young parishioners of the central city synagogue where I had a meeting with young Chazans. He has been studied in Jerusalem and sang me Lechot Dodi on Ashkenazi tunes. There is a little bit pause in the beginning of this recording. Let's wait some seconds.
Помни, да боли малата.
Да, аз се дурно спомнявам. Се дурно ще. Вот,
He speaks Russian, this Kazan, this young Kazan of Cuba, Central Cuba.
حاولنا إنه يشتغلوا لحدودي
It isn't Ashkenazi, and he's trying to sing authentic, Mizrahi lechadodis, and they. No.
Lacha.
It's authentic. But after that, Kazan said that it was his hostile, but now we sing in Ashkenazi tunes.
בדיבורך השמיענו את המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמות תפארת ולתחילה לחדודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מכל ברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לחזודי.
Despite the fact that Caucasian Jews have preserved the oldest melodies in liturgical practice and participated in their transfer to the oral professional musical tradition, like Makam, or in particular, or we say art of Makam, or we say artistic music. Today is actual to revive among the younger generations the skills of performing authentic samples associated with the places of historical residence of Jews in the Caucasus. Thank you very much for your attention. And thanks to Rena for technical assistance too. Thank you very much. I say